Good morning, quilt people and seekers of the world. How are you? I'm doing great and excited about today's topic, although it has been something I've been thinking about for a while. Leaving Dale the Baptist. Why'd I call it that? Doesn't make any sense. So it's just kind of a play on words because it's understanding the role of John the Baptist, not necessarily Dale the Baptist, the former Baptist. Anyhow, the role of John the Baptist is that of teacher, right? John the Baptist was the one who came to help understand people, to help just educate and teach. That was his role. He was, just the role of John the Baptist. But John the Baptist is not living in mastery. John the Baptist has a role, a position. He has a place where he is giving and involved in the evolution of others, right? Again, that's not mastery. That's not to say that you can't have mastery, right? That you can have mastery and be a teacher, but that's not where I am. I'm still very much in the role of trying to teach, right? To try and focus on any lack or misunderstanding that's happening within those around me, within my world, right? Again, that's not mastery. The master has to first and foremost put down any false gods. Any false gods. And anything you give power to outside of yourself, that's a false god. Anything you give power to, including the evolution of others, right? Because you can't help others evolve per se. You can shine a light in the darkness, right? But if all that light that's being shone into the darkness, right? If there's nobody looking at it with the eyes to see it, it is a waste of time, right? You can illuminate the space all you want, but it's ultimately up to others to have the eyes to see. And that's a you thing, that's not a me thing, that's a you thing. I can't help you evolve. Yes, you can look at these videos and you can see what I've done in order to get to this point, right? But again, anything outside of yourself that you give power to is a false god. I'm not interested in operating with false gods anymore. All this, the whole Dale Allen Rouse show is a false god. That's me giving power to something outside of myself. And I feel like I need to, at this point, right, step into focus on being a master and not a teacher. I've taught as much as I can, right? And I've showed examples of how, just the process of developing yourself occurs, and that there's only two things that are required in order for you to begin the work. But you can't just sit here and watch me do the work. You have to go do the work at some point, right? And that's where the whole thing falls down. That's where the whole thing falls down. Having any false gods, having anything that you give power to outside of yourself. I can't focus on that anymore. So my next level is not something you can explain to others and expect them to understand unless they're standing in the same place. Does that make sense? Because I always felt like at some point there would be, okay, I'm heading in this direction, but everybody who's watching or following me is not going to be coming along, because it leaves common sense, right? At some point the evolution of spirit abandons the senses and abandons anything that makes sense to the human mind, because the human mind is very limited, right? So at some point, I could continue on and keep showing you and telling you what I'm doing, but if you're not there, the matrix starts to disintegrate. And if you're not at a place where you can see the inner workings of the matrix, like I'm just gonna be standing up here sounding crazy. If I haven't achieved that already, right? Because this whole thing, like me, like just, dumping into the internet everything that's going on up here for me, right? And while it's been extremely educational for me to week after week to see myself, to adjudicate myself, right? It has been very helpful for me to see my own BS and also to see my own progress and to continue to chase what's really working for me in terms of finding my own inner self, in finding my own inner world, in finding my own inner God. And that's where the whole thing falls apart. And you're either there or you're not. And I can kind of illuminate, head in this direction, right? Like we talked about so many times, the only two things that you need in order to get there is curiosity and honesty. Honesty of self. What's true for you? That's the greatest thing about my exploration in shamanism. Every time you show up in a shamanic circle, they ask you one question and one question only. Who are you? What's true for you? What lives there? And so you're constantly unearthing and unpacking everything that lives in here so that you can better answer that question. And that's why shamanism isn't a religion. There's no rules, there's no book, there's no prescribed way to do the thing, right? It's an exploration of self. Because that's where all the power lies. That's where all the power lies. Remember when I was talking about that woman who was brought in as the local shaman to put out the wildfire that was raging in this one area? And she pulled up her little prayer hut, went in there and prayed and meditated for days. And it wasn't until she found what was off within herself that the fire went out. That's mastery. That's where I'm heading. That's what I'm exploring and playing with. That shaman in her little prayer hut was doing what? She was affecting the matrix. That's how powerful she was. That's what a shaman does. A shaman affects the matrix. Right? The matrix doesn't affect them. They walk through the world and see things as off and fix it. Like Christ level, fix it, right? Because that's a them thing. Their power lives where? In here. And their power they're using to explore and understand and manifest that which they want. They manifest their dreams. They manifest that which they seek. And that's where I'm interested in going. The one thing we have to understand about this next level, and again, I'm just going to shine a little light on it, and if it's all of interest to you, read my books, watch my videos, all the answers are there. Because today's video will be the last for a very long time. No, I don't know, very long time. It'll be the last for a long time. Because I need to stop doing this. I need to stop focusing on the external. I need to stop focusing on the exterior world and start focusing on the interior world, because that's where we meet the maker of stars. No payment is required for you to get there. You can have anything you want in this lifetime if you understand true manifestation, if you understand true personal power. No payment is required. And that's ultimately what I'm dropping here. Because I felt like if I just did enough real estate, or if I just taught enough, or if I just helped enough people along, then I could be granted that which I seek. There was a payment that I felt was necessary in order for me to achieve my hopes and dreams. The payment in giving away. The payment in being a good person. The payment in elevating others, right? No payment is required. And until we get to that point where we understand the benevolence of the universe is always giving. The universe is being affected by you, by your thoughts, by your direction, by your mastery in that realm. Do you have mastery in that realm? Are you affecting the matrix, or is it affecting you? Right? Totally different. So what do you want? Because you can have anything you want. And that was, you saw me fighting so much like, what do I want? Do I want to go and affect change in the world? Or do I want to go and affect change in my world? Their world or my world? Their world or my world? This channel has always been dedicated to one thing: becoming master and commander of you. Not master and commander of the world. It's a very, very different pursuit. However, there is a meeting point, a convergence that happens, that when you become master and commander of your world, you become master and commander of the world. This stuff is real. I have seen it many, many, many times where people literally are able to live a life where they're able to direct and call into action that which they want. They understand the power of manifesting because they understand the power of themselves. Stand in that power. Can you own your own holiness? Is that something you can stand in? Because that's where all your personal power starts. That's where all your personal power lives, is working in conjunction, right? In conjunction with the universe, in conjunction with what is. You can't end that which is. And that was where I was really off, right? Because I thought I could end man's misery. I thought I could end the association with hate. I thought I could end all these things, all this badness, all this evil. I thought I could end that. We can't ever end that which is, because that which is God's plan, right? Even the bad stuff. Even the evil stuff, even the stuff you don't understand. That's God's plan. And we don't get to hold a judgment on that, on any of it. On any of it. We are merely there to observe, understand, and then direct with our will where we want to head next, right? So any looking in the past of what has gone on, right, cannot be helpful or beneficial, because it's not what? It's not focused on where we're going. It's not focused on shining a light on the future, on creating what's next. Because if you're focusing on what was, you're just going to keep creating more of what was, right? Because that's where your intention is. That's where you're headed, right? So, my mission statement. I can have that or not. What does Dale want? If I am master and commander of me and the direction of my life, in understanding I can have anything I want, what wants to live in here? Is it more fight? Do I want to, affect change in the world and stick it to the faith communities who have been blind to the humanity of gay people for, 1886. We can start there. That's when conversion therapy was first coined. But I can't live there. And as much sadness and like, as much as my soul aches for the queer men and women in history who have had to endure ice pick lobotomies as a starter. There were 100 years where faith communities operated with ice pick lobotomies to remove queer individuals from their minds. I wrote a whole series on it. Right? This entire book series is dedicated to understanding that time in history when faith communities started like vilifying and demonizing people for being effeminate, for men being effeminate and for women being masculine, right? The whole idea of being gender non-conforming was, per the Bible, an abomination in the eyes of God. Do I want to live there? Is that a fight I want to pick up and make, my mission? Is it? Do I want to live in the fight? Because again, like, faith communities will come to that reckoning on their own. They don't need me. Like, who am I? Me talking to my phone. Ah! Is that helping? Is it helping me? I'm not sure that it is. Because living a life that's angst-ridden is inherently riddled with the ego, because you're seeing things as wrong, right? There's a bad guy. It's all egoic. Seeing anything as wrong, even the bad stuff. Seeing the bad stuff as wrong is where we fall down. Because the bad stuff exists for a reason. And I've had to come to a place where all those queer individuals who had to go through ice pick lobotomies, as much as my heart breaks for them, I don't get to hold a judgment on that, because it's what is, or at least what was. It's what happened. It is gone. And those lives, those humans who had to endure that level of hate, I have to just trust that that was part of God's plan. And even if I don't understand it and can't wrap my brain around it, I still don't get to hold the judgment on it, because again, it's God's plan. It's what is. And I just have to leave that alone, because it's not me. It's outside of me. And to give power to that is to create for myself a false God. I'm not interested in that anymore on any level. And again, even this, me coming in here and doing this and trying to, chase fame and be important and like, no. No more false gods. No more power outside of my container. All the power must live in my container. No more payments. You get it. You get it for free, for no other reason than you want it. We don't understand benevolence. We don't. Because if we did, we would understand that we can have anything we want. Even being horrible, right? Even being evil. That's an option in God's plan. Now, is it awesome? Is it good? Is it like, no, those things are not good. And this is the one thing, because I wanted to I've talked a lot about the energetic expression of angels versus humans. And when I was comparing the angels and what they're capable of, and again, the angels only have one job, which is to radiate with an expression of God, right? To be an extension of God, to celebrate what is, to the point where you can come up and shoot them in the face and they still celebrate that. Because they understand that that's part of God's plan, because it's part of what is. And they don't question what is, because they don't question God, right? Conversely, for humans, if we were, like I gave that example of shooting your child in front of you and being able to celebrate that as part of God's plan, that's where the whole thing falls down in terms of the expression of humans versus the expression of angels. And humans can't expect to be angels, right? We're just not capable. We're not capable of seeing someone shoot our child and celebrate that as part of God's plan. Because we're human. because we operate with empathy. Angels don't operate with empathy like that because they have no other option, right? They only have one setting, which is redlining on like celebrating God. We don't do that, clearly. Right? We operate with judgment and empathy and a bunch of other human emotions, which is why we come to Earth. What we do as humans have over the angels is a body, is a human expression, is being the ghost in the machine. They don't get to experience that because they're non-corporeal. They're like spirit, right? You know, they're not flesh-based. So don't diminish your human experience in exchange for something otherworldly because you can't get there, right? You're here to have a human experience that operates with empathy, that operates with pain, that operates with ego, that operates with feelings, that operates with hurt, right? All these things are very, very human expression. So before we wrap all this up, I just want to touch on a few things. What's important? How you get to this point. How you evolve past the lens of the ego into the heart. Rule number one that I strongly suggest for everyone chasing this work. Invest in you. Invest in your swagger. How many times have we talked about that? Your swagger as being an important part to giving you fuel for your human experience. Feel cute, right? Go get yourself a makeover. See what that does for you. If that doesn't begin to lift your spirits, nothing will. Invest in your cuteness. You know when you feel cute, chase that. Right? Own that. Light yourself up because that's what you're doing when you're feeling cute, right? When you go and get a makeover, right? You're tapping into your own personal power and your ability to pull a lever that says, oh, hey, I'm awesome. In this work, you can never be selfish enough. I will repeat that. In this work, where you operate with honesty and curiosity, you can never be selfish enough. You're the only game in town. You're the only thing that you can affect change with. Don't take that lightly. Because you can change the entire universe by changing you. You are the maker of stars in your earthly experience. Because you are Christ consciousness in a meat package, right? And that Christ consciousness is here for you to experience yourself. Yes, to experience the world, but also to like actualize the spirit, the soul called you. Find out what that is. Chase your weird. Get into it. Find out what that voice is telling you. So chase your swagger, invest in you, feel cute, right? That's a you thing. Because once you start doing that, you realize, oh, wow, I can actually like throw myself into joy, right? By dressing every day and feeling cute instead of just dressing for comfort and maybe we'll just get through the day, right? Throw out your ugly clothes. That's my first. You're allowed one ugly pair of sweatpants and one ugly shirt, but the rest of your clothes in your closet should always make you feel cute. Okay? That's the first step. Step number 2, make it about you. Make it about you always. You can't get selfish enough in this work. If anything that I've said here doesn't make sense or I've hurt anybody's feelings or whatever else, blah, 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 I apologize. I have done my best to chase what's true for me in here. And I feel like I've made real progress. I mean, I was so angry and suicidal and like all that when I first started this whole thing, and I just wanted to chase that. I wanted to end that. I wanted to see what levers I could pull in my own life to stay lit up 24/7 and to radiate with nothing but joy, right? Because that's so fun, right? Because your container, your vibe, that's what I want you to know. You're in control of that, and you can have anything you want. I can go and pick that fight or not. What do I want? That's the part, the getting clear on what you want, that takes so much work. That's why we meditate. And that's what I need to be doing instead of doing this. I will come back to this, I think, at some point. I don't know. But I need to go and focus on my next level. And my next level is not this. My next level is not seeking fame or trying to chase something or trying to get followers online or more book sales. No. My work is done. I've written my books. I've said my thing. And now it's time for me to focus on my work, not your work. I hope all of this has been super helpful for you. I hope that you have been able to get something out of this. And I hope to see you again at some point in the future. But for now, I need to close this all down. And the time that I spend doing all of this and trying to make your lives better, I need to be spending in meditation on me, centering in self, finding and chasing what is. Anyways, I hope that this has been helpful. I've really enjoyed being on this channel with you, but this is the last video I will be doing for some time, probably years. I need to just go and focus on my studies, on my evolution of self, and on shamanism, and writing more books and changing the world, but not from a place of being loud or leading, but from a place of quiet manifestation. That's where we are today. I hope that you're doing well, and I will see you sometime in the future. All right? Be good to each other. Bye.